The possibility of creating procedures by a user. Complex of objective psychological analysis and testing, Egoscop. The psychodiagnostic complex Egoscop uses an original, innovative technology of testing, patented in the Russian Federation, and provides a new level of modern psychological and psychophysiological diagnostics. Effectiveness of the system Egoscop is based on a fundamental difference from comparables. Testing is conducted paperlessly. Test questions are presented on a special touchscreen tablet. As well as during normal testing, a test person responds to questions using a special pen and tablet monitor. When testing, all actions of the test person are automatically documented, that is, are saved in the computer memory for further analysis. For the first time, an innovative technology of picture polygraphy is used. The technology takes into account voluntary and involuntary emotional reactions of the test person while performing the test tasks in relation to the standard scales and semantic clusters for the objective evaluation of the results. The results are drawn in a conventional form for psychologists and are complemented by a new profile of semantic emotional significance, which is built on the basis of changes in recorded psychomotor and psychophysiological parameters. Hand motility is reflected by the following factors: the coordinates of the pen movement, pressure on the pen, the delay time before the answer and before proceeding to the next stage of the test. Also, when performing tasks, movement of the pen over the tablet without any contact with it at a distance of up to 10 mm can be recorded. Wireless registration of psychophysiological parameters for the analysis is carried out with a small ABP4 unit of Egoscop complex. It registers galvanic skin response, heart rate, EEG and PPG. Using a special editor, user is able to create new physiological, psychological and educational scenarios, tests and assignments adapted for the proposed technology. Thus, the known psychodiagnostic tests adapted to the proposed technology do not require paper forms for computer analysis and are complemented with new diagnostic information, semantic emotional significance profiles, which allow an objective assessment of the test results. The ability to compare the profiles of semantic emotional significance obtained from the test person at different times of dynamic assessment of his condition, which is connected with professional activities, personal factors, health status, as well as with ongoing training, correctional or rehabilitation activities. Egoscop test library includes a variety of such well-known tests as personality, cognitive, projective, state tests, psychophysiological tests, and specialized authors tests adapted to the automatic documentation and picture polygraphy technologies. So here are some examples of the advantages of the proposed testing technology. When performing a lifestyle index test, a test person using a pen marks answers on the tablet. Recorded physiological parameters and hand motility parameters are synchronized with the process of automatic documentation of the testee's actions during the test. As a result of processing of the responses and recorded parameters, the application forms a standard report supplemented by the profile of semantic emotional significance. It is clear from the report that the least expressed protection is reactive formations. The same scale is the only significant one on SES profile, which objectively gives evidence on the formed relation of the testee to the subject. When performing the projective hand test, the testee also draws or writes responses to stimuli using a pen on a touchscreen monitor. Drawn graphic images or written texts are automatically documented and subsequently analyzed by a psychologist using a conventional method for projective tests. However, when interpreting the results, the psychologist may take into account generated by the system and corresponding to semantic clusters SES profile that reflects psychological and psychomotor responses of a test person, as well as the results of these responses processing presented in the form of histograms, graphs, scattergrams. The ability of a test person to use color and light thickness when answering questions of projective drawn tests, such as Torrance creativity tests, allows the psychologist to take into account color preferences of a testee when interpreting the results of the different test stages. For this purpose, the weight distribution of the colors by the scale of the test questions is additionally reflected in SES profile. Psycho-emotional reaction when drawing knight's armor and a heraldic coat of arms, figure 8, is marked on SES profile, obtained at the end of the test. Of subsequent conversation, it became clear that the testee is really very emotional about the subject. The use of the proposed technology in cognitive tests, for example in Raven's test, allows additional analysis and evaluation of the psychological and psycho-emotional reactions, as well as the effort of a test person associated with its cognitive activity in solving the problems. When comparing IQ points and SES profile, it is clear that the least amount of points scored in the test series the principle of progressive changes. For this series, an increased psycho-emotional reaction on SES profile is also registered, reflecting the relatively higher psychophysiological costs of the testee associated with certain difficulties in performing this kind of tasks. The psychophysiological tests represented in Egoscop library effectively use the features of the stimulus material assigned by a program and original properties of touchscreen tablet. For example, in attention and noise resistance test, which is designed to assess the functional state of the central nervous system in the course of action, signals of different colors and with different types of software-generated visual interference are presented to the testee in the center of the monitor. The testee has to respond to the signals in accordance with the instructions. In the course of the test, the psychophysiological parameters are recorded. Test results in the form of graphs that evaluate the activity with interference and without it, as well as the table with the calculated parameters, characterize the effectiveness of the tested person. The proposed version of the test, in contrast to comparables, allows additional evaluation of the psychophysiological penalty of the activity based on the psychophysiological parameters, processing results, and SES profile. During the tremor test, the application evaluates the accuracy of movement along a predetermined path by a test person. Unlike analogs, the use of tablet monitor and a special pen stylus allows using the program-assigned path parameters for the test, the shape, width, and length of the route, as well as a special marker that defines the desired speed when passing the route. Test results are presented in a tabular form with the calculated parameters. Also, SES profile can be formed to assess psychophysiological activity penalty. In the study of cognitive processes and functions associated with brain activity, such as attention, memory, perception, speed of information, processing and the training, there is often a need to register an expanded set of psychophysiological parameters. In this case, the software Egoscop allows you to record EEG and very low frequency activity, as well as EOG, myogram, respiration parameters, galvanic skin response, hemodynamic parameters, heart rate, and others. In this case, the analysis of experimental data, in addition to the basic functionality of the complex, the quantitative methods of EEG analysis, detailing the dynamics of spatial spectral characteristics in relation to the performed test tasks, can be used. Researcher is provided with flexible configuration criteria for experimental data processing. Results can be also presented as a table of verified correlations density. Specially adapted psychological, physiological, projective, cognitive tests, or created by the experimental tests, can be used as tests. At the same time, Egoscop software, mainly directed to widespread use, makes the psychodiagnostic complex a reliable assistant to practicing psychologists seeking professional growth and the use of modern, efficient technologies at individual work with both adults and children. Contemporary IT technologies make it possible to test groups of subjects in the network setting that improves their efficiency and capacity. Local workplace testing can be carried out by independent scenarios for each of the testees, and the organization of the workplaces can flexibly provide both general and individual testees rotation. All actions on selection and activation of test scenarios on workplace, on test performance control and data storage can be done from the main workplace via LAN server by one person trained in dealing with the complex. Instructor is provided with sequential access to monitor the control and management of the test process on local psychodiagnostic complexes that make up the network. Portable tables and computers connected to the wireless Wi-Fi local network provide Egoscop complexes with mobility and possibility of testing personnel in large organizations and various departments, athletes and team sports, as well as contribute to the efficient use of facilities in the educational process and scientific research in the departments of psychology and psychophysiology of higher education institutions, including the creation of new educational programs to control the effectiveness of training.